And hello, everybody. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and even hit the thanks button. I say that because the algorithm makes me, and nobody's here yet, so I don't bore you. If you're watching this on replay later, the whole show just comes up, so you'll be able to see it in its entirety. And Steve's with me first. You're always first, Steve. You must be sitting there with your finger on the button on everything. But thanks for coming. And we're just starting to get everybody in the room now. Thank you. Yep. And I don't see who else is coming, but class is in session. What can I tell you? All right. So it's bye week, which is great for players, but the rest of us have to work for a living. So I'll still be doing this. Daniel's there. You're just back from, where'd you say you were from? Disney World or something? Disneyland? Something. I saw a note from you on that. Must be nice. And DC Hustler, all right, is here. Daniel's here. Universal Studios. Is that where? Is that in Florida? I think. Is that the one with the Harry Potter world? I'd like to go see that. I've been to Disney World a few times, and well, I don't know if my old body can walk 10 miles a day. I've been doing that every day, but whatever. Okay, Michael says something bad. I have to get a moderator on you. And all right, so I've covered, the Harry Potter world. So is the Harry Potter world any good, Daniel? I know I'm killing you guys. Letting people get in while I do this. I don't know. I want to try the butterbeer and all. I thought it'd be cool. Read the books with my kids. Brian's from DC. Thanks, Brian, for coming in. Everybody's here. So it's Cam Graves. Yeah, how am I feeling? Thanks. Earlier this year things got weird, but knock on wood, things are good. So they said my back was the problem. Who knew? I had like a big muscle spasm, weird. So I feel good now. So all right, let's see. I guess we can talk Commanders now. Enough of you have showed up all of a sudden on there. So and probably next Monday I'll probably do a show too. I mean, like I said, it's bye week, but we still work. I mean, I get Sunday free, but that's about it. So, and the wife has enough projects for me to do, so keep my busy days. All right, hi, Sean. All right, so I was thinking, wow, they're playing the Giants 2 straight. I've never seen this. So with some help from an old friend of mine, Dan Daly, who worked at the Washington Times, he's a great NFL historian, I said, Dan, when's the last time they played 2 straight against somebody? And so Dan knows all this stuff. He says, 1966, they played Pittsburgh 2 in a row. And they were 0-2 to start that season. I wrote down some notes on this. And they beat Pittsburgh both games. The first game, Sonny threw 2 touchdowns. And then the second game, Sonny threw 3 touchdowns, a 60-yarder to Charlie Taylor, 51 to Bobby Mitchell, and 70 to Bobby Mitchell. Sonny figured them out. Second time back, carved them up. And they won both games. But then Dan comes up with a new stat and says, all right, how about a three-peat? They played the Giants once 3 in a row. 1943, World War II is going on. The league's trying to survive. They're playing anybody they get their hands on. Washington starts off 4-0 and 6-0-1, and then loses their last 3 games, and including the last 2 games to the Giants, and 31-7 in the final. All right, so they played them 2 straight, but now they got to play in the playoffs, and the first game was against the Giants, who, after losing to them twice, beat them 28-0. So, it was one of those weird things. Then they lost. They went on to lose to Chicago in the championship game that year. So we have seen a 2-peat and a 3-peat. There you go. There's a history lesson for today. All right. So Blue Note, not sure about the 49ers quarterback, but the rest of the QBs we facing are struggle with mobile, and this team struggles against them. Yeah. And, look at Daniel Jones. I said NFL teams often lose games as much as they win games because they're doing something great, and then they stop doing it. And it's not always because the other team has figured it out and making them stop. They just think they're too smart for their own good. And I think that's what happened there. I would have had Jones running like nuts. Why not? They kind of did. But, the tie, I've covered 3 ties. I did the Gus Frerotte game where he banged his head against the wall. I think it was 97 against the Giants. There was the London game in 2016, and now this one. And I said, I guess in the end, not losing feels better than not winning. So if that makes sense. And it basically just kicked the can down the road 2 weeks, and that next Giants game is really the game now that has to be decided. So it's sort of like he just took one off and said, okay, go to 4 on there. How are they going to do against mobile quarterbacks? Well, it'd be interesting to see what they do against the Giants again, because each side knows each other a little better now. So we'll see. Sean wants to know, will the home crowd show up? Well, 5% of DC now is New Yorkers since 9/11. They came down here. This is their new home, but they kept their old loyalties. I'm okay with that. You can keep your old team if it's your team, or you can join a new city. Get a choice. I expect the crowd to be about 50-50, and only because I think it would be more Giants fans still. But with it being a night game now, some of you may not notice, it's now been flexed to the Sunday night football game. So, people coming down from New York, you'd have to stay overnight or something now. It'd be much harder. So I think it'll be maybe a 50-50. Washington has only had, I think, the home crowd advantage against Jacksonville. Yeah, great. Who can't do that one? And Atlanta, also, no fans. But this team has also really increased its attendance this year. From what I can gather, because they don't give out official numbers about like season tickets. I have to kind of read between the numbers to figure it out. I'd say they have at least 10,000 more season ticket holders this year, maybe more. But now they got them. They discounted the prices, free parking, and all that. It was a good year to buy them. But they are getting more fans and they're starting to win. I mean, if you're not going to come for this game, when are you going to come? But now it's a night game. And a lot of people don't want to because you got to go to work the next day or all that. Just watch it on TV. So it'd be interesting to see what the crowd is. I personally am thrilled because Saturday I have a big family reunion I didn't want to miss, which I would have, but I didn't want to. So now I don't have to. It's really great. Let's see, the Wobo. Hi, Wobo. Hey, back. Are they being honest with us about Chase? Well, Rivera today basically did throw in something that told me the truth, too. He said, listen, defensive line's doing just great without Chase. So we can wait until Chase is 100%. We can talk about Chase forever on this show. But, to me, I don't think he'll ever be 100%. And if you don't play Chase against the Giants, that's 3 games left, bag it. Unless maybe you think about trading him in the offseason, and now you want to be able to showcase him a little bit to show he's healthy. There's a lot of different back and forth about Chase and what you want to do with him. But they don't need Chase at this point, and so they're not in any hurry to do anything about it. Okay, so Ricardo, is that it? No, it's Nick Cardo. I'm sorry. I believe Scott Turner needs to be very aggressive, somewhat like they played against the Eagles. Yeah, he had some baffling calls at the end of that game. I really think they played for a tie at overtime. It was kind of a miracle in a way that they tied the game. Heineke's done nothing most of the game, and boom, they go down 90 yards on 8 plays. And listen, that was a great play by Dotson. And I don't like to be bad on Heineke. I don't want to say the word. But because there's a lot that I like about him, including leading that drive. That's why Heineke is where he is. But those 2 touchdowns were scored by McLaurin and Dotson, and those were receiver touchdowns, not passer touchdowns on there. Blue Note, my daughter will be there. You and your daughter will be there in 2 weeks for the game. First game, too. Wow. All right. If she's old enough to hear bad language, or otherwise cover her ears. It gets a little crazy with all the drunks and everything, especially night games. Sean, holy Mike, I didn't even know about potentially trading Chase. Yeah, I don't know if it's a legit option, but it is an option. Because if you don't let Chase play this year, then he comes back next season for his 4th year. He hasn't played, a season and a half, so who knows how good he is then. And then you're not far off from figuring out if you got to tender him for a 5th year, and then things start getting expensive. And you got Montez Sweat, also looking for the money. There's a lot. I wouldn't want to be the guy making these decisions. Michael Parsons better than Chase Young, says Fazal. Well, right now you can say that. Ask me again in 2 years. Let's see. Steve says, Heineke back has medium talent and a large heart. Yeah, that's pretty much what he is. And sometimes that's okay. Somebody asked him, are you going to give out free shoes to teammates for a tie? And he said no. I thought, well, give everybody a left shoe. Give half a team a left shoe and half a team a right shoe. Let them work it out amongst themselves. Red Ball Manders. Does Brock Purdue playing mean Washington beats Niners? I don't know. Kid didn't look bad the other day, did he? Listen, the Niners got a good defense. And Washington now has to play on a Sunday night and then play Saturday in San Francisco. So you got to cross the country too. And it's Christmas Eve, and that always has a lot of weirdness to it. It's another game I got to figure out what to do. My wife's not going to hear. Can't do anything on Christmas Eve. I want to watch the game. Yeah, that's a good way to the doghouse. I don't know what I'm doing here. I guess I'll tape it. But when are you going to watch it? Can't watch it on Christmas. I don't know. I got a brand new TV because I just bought a new house. And so we've decided to put a big TV in, 65-inch, and it's a 4K. Any of you guys got a 4K TV? I'll tell you, man, it's like watching something alive or something. It's different TV. It's like going to see a play where people are right there in front of you. Now, so I thought, what's a game going to look like this? I wouldn't say it's measurably better, but it was interesting on there. All right. Michael says they won't get anything for Chase on the trade block. Maybe not. Would they get more for Deron Payne? Well, they got to franchise him. So if they do that, I think they'll cut a deal with Deron. I would like to think they cut it before the season ends, but we'll see. Let's see, Lucas. When do you think we'll see more activity on the sale of the team? January, probably right after. The NFL does not like things happening during the playoffs, and especially news during Super Bowl week. Now they've done it, and this team has done it, but that's one of the caveats of the NFL is don't screw up news around the playoffs. We'll see. But I don't think it's going to be sold in January. I just think you'll hear more news about it. I think it's going to be a while before it's really sold. Scott says, is Turner holding the team back? You think that. I wouldn't say that, but I think he could be better. And listen, we all get better as we get older with stuff. I couldn't have done this 20 years ago. All right, Zach, it would be, of course, we didn't have this 20 years ago. It would be nice if Heineke scrambled a little more, says Zach. Yeah, he does better on his feet moving around. But I think he did some really good things of not getting buried by rushes and throwing the ball away at times. But he threw some 50-50 balls, too, and got away with it. Do I think the team's ready to win now, Anthony? Yeah, I think the chemistry is working well. Would I package a deal for Chase for Aaron Rodgers? Yes, I would. May regret it, but I probably would. Slam and Jamin's back. Okay, I'm very concerned about the offensive line holding up. Yeah, I mean, Larson's now has a dislocated kneecap, so he's gone for the season, which means he'd probably go back to Martin for center, but maybe Schweitzer. And, notice they didn't want Sadiq Charles playing in this game. He did everything he could, but Cosme's got hurt again. We have not heard yet. Here's the thing that Ryan loves to do. Meets with the media around 3 o'clock on Monday, and we say, hey, how about the injuries on this? He goes, I'm going to meet with the trainer at 4 after you guys. Okay, are you going to come back and tell us what you had? No. And he doesn't have to give out an injury report for a week, and he's not going to. So I don't know what's up with Sam yet. I haven't even seen anything of the schedule this week, which is unusual. So I think he's giving them some time off because this is very late. I've never seen a December bye. So I think he's kind of let the guys rest up some this week. Who's that guy over my right shoulder? Sean asked. Is this my right or is this your right or my right? Anyway, this way is me from 1980. This is me as a Scottish Lord. I do hold a title of Scottish Lord. If I mention it, I get a free drink of water anywhere I go in Scotland. Let's see. Oh, Bob's here. Thank Bob. Glad to see you back. Horse times 2. Did you see Leno having a tie is like kissing your sister? Don't have a sister, so I can't really say what that's like. But if I kissed your sister, I could tell you what that's like. But that's different. All right. How does Leno know about kiss my sister? Yeah. Okay. All right, Michael. Maybe okay. We're getting all into sister stuff now. Okay. I don't have one. I have a brother. I'll trade him for your sister. But all right. Let's see. Nick Carter says, I really believe they'll beat the Giants this time. And you're going to be at the game with 30 fans. Good for you, man. Yeah, so, I mean, I agree with you there on run protection. James, how you doing? And Let's see. Oh, everybody's laughing. Okay. All right. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying some kind of sister joke thing. I have a sister-in-law. Um, let's see. Michael, Lena's wife's a sweetheart. She seems nice. I've seen her on Twitter. I haven't met her personally, but she seems like a really nice person. And Lena, Charles is a really good guy too. So they have 3 daughters, I think. So I have 2 daughters. That was enough. Let's see. Oh, catching up with you guys. All right, we have a decent crowd tonight. All right. I guess before the games just get ready to start. Anybody watch the USA's lose in soccer? I don't watch much soccer. And I was like, oh, what a bummer. Yeah, they got knocked out early in the game. It was like, okay, I don't have to watch second half. Seem to miss St. Juice, says Sean. Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll be back. I heard a term the other day about him, and they said he has a middle ankle sprain. I've been doing this 44 years and never heard that term. A high ankle sprain means you're going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. A lower ankle sprain means tape it up and get the needle and you should be okay. A middle ankle sprain? Well, he's missed, 3 games? I guess it's more like a high ankle sprain. But Ron said it is what it is, and we'll find out when he's ready to come back. James thinks they should keep Heineke the starter the rest of the season. Well, Ron said that he is the starter, but Carson will be the backup, and we'll take it from there. So it's not exactly a rousing endorsement. I think they'll do what they think they have to do at the end. Listen, in 1987, Jay Schrader started the first 15 games. Got the last game off because he was banged up. So Doug Williams got to play. Then we start the playoffs. And Joe Gibbs says, going to let Doug Williams be the starter in the playoffs. Wait a minute. Jay Schrader just threw for 4,000 yards. You're not supposed to lose your job to an injury like that. But Gibbs thought Doug could do better in the playoffs than Jay for some reason. All hell broke loose on that one. Jay was not exactly a diplomatic guy. And but Doug went on and won Super Bowl with them. So, can't beat Gibbs there. So you never know what's going to happen with these things. What's my take on Prime going to Colorado? Asked Bob. I'm surprised it didn't happen 2 years ago. I figured he'd be at Jackson State 1 season and bolt, but he was there 3. Did a great job there. He deserves to move up. And I feel sorry for his old team because, he brought something unique to them. I am a big Deion fan. So, personally, I just think Deion's a cool guy. Do I have cool in-laws? Yeah, my in-laws treated me great. Marcus, debate going to the game. What do you got to have, Marcus? What do we got to do before you come to the game? If you go over Tailgate Ted's party, I went to Tailgate Ted's party the other day in the parking lot because I was helping out some company doing a book on tailgates. So whenever the food's awesome there. He does the visiting team's food every game. So he had like shrimp and grits and all this stuff. And you throw in money and it all goes to charity, the profits. And Tailgate Ted has a great party. It's not far from the stadium on there. Let's see. What's with Andy Reid being 0-3 against Cincinnati? Asked Antoinette. Yeah, I didn't know that. But, I thought they'd win that one. That was interesting. I guess everybody's got some kryptonite. Marcus screwed up when he's left back in the Super Bowl with Jay. He was only in there for like a play, right? I think it was. And then Doug got back on the field and said, get off my field. Marcus lives in Georgia. Okay. It takes a little longer to get here from Georgia. But if you want to come up, I'm sure everybody would love to see you. See, Bob loved working with Prime because Bob worked with the team for a few years. He's on here all the time. So say hi to Bob. Daniel, if you notice, Taylor has not been as mobile as he used to be. I don't know if I think they're trying to elevate his game. That doesn't mean it's for the better or for the worse. I wouldn't do it. I'd tell Taylor Commanders are just texting us about something. Okay. Nothing important. Let Taylor be Taylor. I mean, that's his best chance of success, and he's doing okay. Cam, do I think the Cinder situation is normal? Yeah, sometimes I think they're just not honest about how long timetables are, and things take too long, and that's secrecy thing there, which the NFL doesn't love, but sometimes winks at. Marcus says Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL. I liked them a lot, and they started really slow this year, and I wondered what was going on with that. But they're rolling along now, so and that's what matters. December, time when the quarterback conflict continues. I think he's a gamer, but not the long termer. That's what I think too. I've said this about Heineke for 2 years now. I think he's a good temp quarterback, but not your long term quarterback. A good reliever, a good spot starter. Let's see. Oh, Anthony lives in Georgia too. All right, Steve brings up a good point. You can tip here to help keep this show going. Help me fed. Can I explain what the difference? So if you hit the thanks button below me, like right down here somewhere, where is it down there? Yeah. Anyway, it's down there. You hit it, a couple bucks, $5, $10. Some weeks we do charity, but today I'm going to try and keep it to pay for Christmas. But if you can throw a few bucks, I appreciate it. I hate being a whore and ask for it, but that's how this game works. And Steve asked, can I explain the difference of what is and isn't pass interference? Yeah, I know. Why did the guy who was right on the play throw the flag, but the guy across the field talks him out of it? Wait a minute, that didn't make any sense at all. That's like telling the home plate umpire who's right there watching the slide that the second base umpire overruled him. That was weird. The Giants give more breaks. New York, NFL loves New York. Sean, we were saying Washington scores no more than 20 points any game the rest of the year. What's their record? Okay, so it's what, 4 games left? 20 points can beat the Giants, can beat Cleveland. I don't know if you can beat San. Well, if you can get 20 against San Francisco, you can win that one. Probably can't. And Dallas game depends on if Dallas is playing their starters even. They could win any game they have left. They could also lose any game they have left. But I would say the 4 left, I think they won at least 2, and I think 2 can get them into playoffs. The unknown is them. Carson Wentz playing style, and the other line's keeping them from playing them. That's true, too. You can't really bring back Carson. He's such a statue. And you got your line completely wrecked right now. I want to see what the health status is before I would say much about that. Michael doesn't want to play Chase anymore this season. He's not ready. Well, maybe. It's hard to say because they look okay, but we can't see this. And Ron said today that the doctors more or less said we can't simulate game situations in practice. You just can't. So you're just going to have to take a leap of faith if he goes out there. All right. Anthony's got bragging rights the last 2 years on the Falcons. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having bragging rights. What former Washington player do I think would be better in this era? Asked Cam. Wow, that's a good question. Mosley, I think he'd be an even better kicker. He was a good kicker way back. But Sonny was great in his time, but he'd be even better now. Gosh, most of the good players would be even better now because the league is diluted. You got to remember they kept having expansion. I mean, if they go to NFL Europe, add another 4 teams over there, nobody's going to have any depth, and you still don't have enough quarterbacks on there. Oh, Dizzy's back. All right. Am I doing the live chat in the off season? That's a good question. See how much you guys tip. I hate to say that, but I'll do it some. I don't know if I'll do it every week or not. If I can crank out a few dollars every week while you guys hitting the thanks button, maybe I keep going every week. But you got to pay to play. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. What do I think about Howe in 2023? Scott, that's a good question too because they like Howe. I think they'd really like to wait another year on him, but sometimes you get forced into it, and that's not always a bad thing. And I think Howe has a good arm, seems smart. Just watching him in the off-season camps, I think he could be successful in the NFL. I don't know if it would be Brady, but who's Brady? Do I think the college rule for pass interference is better than the NFL? Anthony asked. Nah, I think it's too liberal in the colleges. GK8's back. Okay. Last year we had a good offensive line, but at least now struggling. Yeah. Well, they just didn't want to pay that money to Sheriff, and he didn't want to stay. I don't know why who'd want to go to Jacksonville Jaguars, but okay. Well, he went for the money, but I mean, I don't know. That's a personal decision there. Just like losing Carter on returns. He wanted to move back out to the West Coast. It wasn't that Washington didn't want to keep him. It's that he did not want to stay. I don't know if you guys just saw that on my screen. Some update. Let's see. Steve says, watch highlights from the 69 today. Wow, really? Sonny was more mobile than Wentz. Oh, yeah. Sonny was more mobile than he needed to be. Because in 69, Lombardi made him lose some weight. And Sam Huff used to always joke to Sonny, that's the year Sonny was in shape. And Sonny would go, ha, 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 Sam. And that was a running joke between those two guys for years. But Sonny didn't think it was funny. Okay, Antoinette, will Washington make the playoffs? And if not, does Ron get fired? Ron won't get fired this offseason, especially if the team's being sold, because it'd be too late to do something like that. So I don't think so. Abe, okay, he's got a long name, but nutrition and training has grown leaps and bounds since the early days, so most players today's game would age better. True. When I started covering the team, too, in training camps in the 90s, we used to be in the same chow line. And when you get your silverware and plates, there were these 3 big bowls of different colored pills. Okay. I don't know what they were, but I had my suspicions what they were. You don't see those things anymore. So, sometimes painkillers or whatever they are, whatever they were, they don't have many more there. Let's see. Does Washington Commanders take a quarterback in the 2023 first round? From what I gather, they'll be picking late in the first round, and I don't think what I gather it's not a great quarterback class. I mean, I've read about it, but I don't watch a whole lot of college ball to tell. Cam, thank you, Cam, for appreciate you hitting the thanks button like that. If I was in charge of setting up the next NFL expansion team, where would you put them? Well, they're going to London. 2 of them are going to London. That's going to be the next expansion team. Do you take one from, say, Jacksonville or something? I don't know. Maybe you relocate them. But not all expansion teams are awful. Carolina and Jacksonville had pretty quick success. And then the NFL said, what the heck did we do to let them do that? And they changed the rules to screw them more. Vegas, to me, in NHL, Vegas' GM was the smartest guy. He went to teams and said, I would take your best player unless you give me your first-round pick. And that dude has built himself a hell of a team. So I give him credit there. Hey, David, exciting times around here. Do you think the game on the 18th is the biggest home game since the Skins beat Dallas? Sunday night 2012. Wow, okay, that's something to think about. Maybe. That might be about right because there hasn't been much to cheer about in the last 10 years. How would Darryl Green do in today's NFL, Anthony says. It's your favorite player. Darryl will be fine. I mean, he's not going to grow any taller, but he won't get any faster. But he was a smart player, too. People underestimated that. Daniel said those pills were Hulk Hogan's supposed vitamins. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just telling you what I saw. Art Monk would have 200 receptions a year. Michael said, well, maybe. I mean, Art could handle himself, no doubt, against this stuff. The cover no one umbrella defenses, Michael says. Yeah. All right, GK, considering the 49ers cornerback situation, yeah, I agree. That changes that game in San Francisco a lot with Jimmy G gone. RV, is Bubba Tyler still filling in for the Commanders? They finally get a replacement. They did get one. Al Bellamy, who worked for Bubba here back in the 90s and then went to Detroit, was the head trainer there for years and another place too. He is back here this season. Bubba comes by and helps him once in a while if he needs some help. But, Bubba's, I don't know, late 70s now. So Bubba every day used to give us the injury report. Now they don't do anything. Dizzy, thank you for the money. I appreciate it. Dizzy knows what he's doing there too. Am I covering the DC Defenders? I don't know about that. I don't know. I think I'll be too busy with some other things. But I like the Defenders. I went to a game with my podcast partner, Matt. Seasons of Discontent should be up any moment now. When you get done with this, when the twice weekly podcast that Matt and I do will be up. We did it just before I started this show. So thanks for that. Oh, the extra week of rest helped Chase, Mojo Daddy. Nah, I don't think that'll matter on any of this. Sheldon, why aren't we using the tight end fade more? Man, boy, did the tight ends throw up all over themselves this past week. Whew, that was a bad game. I gave an F in my grades in Rick Snider's Washington. Kira, I asked, Baker or Wentz? Well, I almost thought about do you claim Baker Mayfield to keep him away from San Francisco? But then again, he stinks, so maybe you let San Francisco have him. Ooh, Great Watubi's here and threw in some money. Thank you, Great Watubi. I appreciate it. I hope they don't move the Giants game to Saturday night. I hate to tell you, it's Sunday night. Sunday night's the game now, 8:20. So plan accordingly. Go to your Saturday night party. One time, when the team was the Redskins, they were in Detroit the week, I guess, before Christmas. And we were all staying at the Dearborn, Michigan Marriott, which is next to the Ford plant, which had its Christmas party going on. Man, that place rocked that night. I mean, people were in the hallway singing and dancing and yelling and crap at 2 in the morning. I'm trying to get some rest before covering the game. That was wild. It was kind of cool being by the Ford plant, though. Daniel says, I'm liking the turnout for your videos lately. Yeah, appreciate it. Wow, what we got tonight? Yeah, we got a decent crowd tonight. More people watch on replay, though. So if you're watching this on replay, thanks. Usually about half, I'd say about half and half go live and half watch on replay. So I guess somebody else, they got things to do, watching the neighborhood or something right now, and they come back later. Let's see. Unhexable. Have you ever heard the SpongeBob SquarePants song? Yeah, oh yeah, I have grandkids. So SpongeBob SquarePants song. So I don't know, SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't know. They're talking about something bad. I don't know. It's kind of a weird show. I'll give it that. I like Patrick. Good looking honky. Message deleted. Okay, sorry, good looking honky. Try again. Michael's my enforcer. Whatever he says. What are my thoughts on the 91 Skins? Covered that team, covered that Super Bowl. Great team. I mean, but they all got old at the end, and man, that team was gone. It's sort of like the Nationals, gone quick. Favorite hamburger spot in the area, RB? Five Guys. Five Guys, I don't get to eat it much, but Five Guys has the best burgers. And I know people out there talking, what about In-N-Out Burger? In-N-Out Burger, bleh. And Whataburger, when I was in Texas, tried it. Bleh. Five Guys blows them out, man. It's not even close. Are you ready, kids? Yeah. Okay. On exploit. Didn't think about it too much. David, what exactly is Kerrigan's role? Well, he works more with the outside defenders and tries to show them ways to penetrate defenses, basically, where the other coach works on the inside. Kerrigan's on the outside. And he knows Montez because they played together. So he seems to be doing very well. People spoke well about Ryan. I don't know if he'll want to remain a coach after a season of learning that it's 100 hours a week. It's a hard job being you get paid okay in the NFL, but man, it's a lot of hours. Okay, let's see. Marcus, am I employed by the Commanders? No. No, I'm employed by 167, The Fan, the sports talk station, among others. Old news. If you don't know, I've been a sports writer 44 years in town, and worked for the Washington Times, the Examiner, and the Post Express. Last two laid me off from recent years, and I was working for Sports Illustrated. They laid us off in the pandemic, so I got laid off a lot with all this. And now I'm at the end of a career, and I'm doing things like this, and 167 The Fan, and kind of listen to Command Post magazine, which covers a team, and semi-retiring, and that kind of thing. I was going to retire after this season, but since things are going to get sold and things are going to be interesting, I'm going to stick around at least another year. But I'd never want to work for the team, not with Dan Snider. Maybe if Bezos buys it, maybe I could be the historian. We've talked about it. I sometimes talk to people on the team about history because I don't have anybody who was around for anything. So I try to stop some things from happening, but they don't always ask me everything. And I don't want to work ever for Dan Snyder. It's not happening. Great Watubi kicks in a couple bucks. Thank you. See, this is very easy to do. You just hit that thanks button and I don't know, you donate money somehow. They created this for musicians and all during the pandemic who couldn't play. So they created this thanks button so people could help support musicians. So maybe I'm an entertainer now. Who knows? I used to be a real journalist. Anyway, Great Watubi, what's hurting us more, linebacker, quarterback, or O-line? O-line. I don't think linebackers are hurting. Although, Cole Holcomb today underwent surgery, according to Ben Standig of The Athletic. So he's gone for the year. All right, the unknown Fat Burger. Red Robin. Red Robin's not bad. I've never eaten at a Fat Burger. We don't have them here, unless that's what Red Robin sells, and you're saying. What happened with Dan? Why does he want to sell the team? Because the league's making them. That's why. They're done with this nonsense. It's a back channels thing, but it's done. It's going to happen. Let's see. Was Tony Kornheiser as approachable as he's seen back in the day, RB says? Yes. I mean, I talk to Tony once in a while, but I wasn't worthy of his time, or Boswell or John Feinstein. Feinstein and I both worked in this market over 40 years, never spoken to each other, but we don't cross paths much, and I don't worry about it. And they don't worry about it either. Not everybody loves me. I was in a grocery store the other day, and somebody said, "Hey, Rick Snider's Washington." This happens to me all the time from this show. And the shows I do every day, if you don't see them, the 2-minute videos during the day I do, I get approached all the time now. It's kind of weird. But okay, if you see me, say hi. Buy me a drink. Let's see. Let me go, David. I live around the corner from Kornheiser, and he's approachable in real life. I could believe that. Tony's, he is who he is. Are my answers supposed to be funny? Well, sometimes not. The great part of all this is it's free, and you get what you pay for. Although you just paid for something. So, okay, let me think of a funny line. There's this woman who got mad at the store. She comes in and she says, "Hey, I took this thing home and it didn't work." And they said, "Well, that's your problem. Give me the manager." The manager tells her, said, "Listen, lady, you take your chances with this kind of stuff." She said, "Well, this is the last time I'm buying a scratch-off ticket from here. It didn't work." There you go. Here's a joke. The only sports writer joke I know. All right, sports writers, a guy sitting in a bar after a game. And this lady of the evening comes by and says, "Honey, for $100, I'll do anything you want." Guy says, "It's not a bad deal." Hands her his key. He says, "I need a game story and a sidebar in an hour. I'll see you then." That's the only sports writer joke I know. Okay. John Kime seems to be a nice guy, says Anthony. John's one of my best friends. He is a wonderful guy from Ohio. I like people from Ohio. They're always nice. I know people, somebody said you've never been to Cincinnati then, but I don't know. I've never met somebody from Pennsylvania or Ohio I didn't like. And John's a great guy and does a great job at ESPN. We worked together at the Examiner. We've written a couple of books together. Okay, was George Michael as approachable as he seemed? He seemed like a great guy, asked RB. Yeah, by and large, George was. And George was an entertainer and a huckster and a lot of different things, but I liked George because he was an authentic guy. He lived big, I miss George. He was a great guy. Missed the day when the TV anchors were all big deals. This wall of texting is not asking any questions Rick can answer. Okay. All right, whatever that means. The Great White Tubi, thank you. Oh, here's some money to buy a joke book. All right. Thanks, Great White Tubi. I don't know what to tell you, dude. You either like me or you don't. But what I've learned in my old age here, not everybody's going to like me. And I don't have to worry about it. All right, now I'm asked about Lindsay Zarniak. Wonderful lady, Donald. I like Lindsay a lot. She's as nice a person as you're going to be. A lot of them are. We're not all jerks like me. And I'm not that bad anymore. I used to be, but I got older and wiser. Okay, Mikasa 2088. I'm a fan since 79. I need to know Heath versus Gus. Did Cook say coach picks the quarterback to Charlie Casserly? Ooh, it depends on who you ask that question to. I've asked that question to Norv and Charlie. They both claim the other picked Heath. And, I never really asked about Gus. So, everybody loves the winners and swears they didn't do the losers. All right, Jason. I miss the days of Sonny and Sam calling the games. Man, I tell you what, Sunday mornings at the hotel on the road, Sonny, Sam, Bubba Tire, D-Boy, who's a conditioning guy, and I'm missing somebody. We're all in the lobby just talking with each other mostly, and I get to come by once in a while. It was like a master class on football. You learn so much from those guys. And for some reason I got in with the group at times, and they were great guys to all hang out with. I miss Sam a lot. He was really great. Mikasa likes the videos. Thank you. Appreciate it. And my lock of the week paid off. Oh, David. Okay, that 10% is mine, buddy. Remember, I I pick games on Saturday mornings. I pick all the NFL games. Last week I wasn't wearing my shirt because I lost it the previous week picking games. Can't say I'm particularly great at this. If I was, I wouldn't have to do this. But I do okay on the locks, as they call them. Which of the Hogs did you most enjoy interviewing, says Steve? Most of the Hogs were a big pain in the butt, if you really want to know the truth. But Russ Grimm was the exception. He was awesome. Russ is one of my favorite Redskins ever. Mark May had his good days and his bad days. Bostic I did not like. Jacoby I did not like. Stark I did not like. That's just how it goes, man. I'm telling you the truth, just from a reporter perspective. They might be great guys elsewise, but they weren't very nice to reporters. Okay, Daniel, and that's all I care about. I know you don't care about it, but it's my life. I learned not to take it personally, and I don't care. So Taylor and Terry kind of remind of Kirk and Pierre Garcon there, says Daniel. Yeah, there's a lot of, every quarterback has his favorite guy, and Terry's going to get the ball. Terry took one away. It should have been an interception. The guy reached in front of the guy, took the ball away from the defender. Did I know Warner Wolf? The unknown ism says, no, that's the one guy I didn't, and he would never return my phone calls when I would call him. So I watched him as a young kid. He had this thing called Boo of the Week on TV. He was a real trendsetter. And then went to New York for a long time. It made money up there. But Warner was a real pioneer in this business for TV guys. Big guys, 45s, a new person. Oh, okay. We always like that. What should I expect from this channel? Mostly Commanders, but sometimes I do a little Washington Life because I am a tour guide too. So like I did one on Sir Isaac Newton's tree. Okay, I didn't get to talk about this yet. All right. Sir Isaac Newton is a guy sitting under a tree. The apple hits him in the head. He discovers gravity. You know that tree is still there in England. It's over 350 years old. But even more so, I did a video this week. I stopped by. It's off Van Ness Avenue and International Drive in Northwest D.C. Basically, this tree is the grandson of that tree. It's a clone of the clone directly from that tree. So Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree is here in D.C. So if you go on my channel, you'll see something like that. I do a lot of weird stuff like that. I'm going to do some more this week because I have some free time. So I do a little bit of everything, but mostly Commanders. All right, let's see. All right, Steve, that was funny. Vinyl Man, hence my YouTube nickname. I'm the Vinyl Man? Oh, I get it. Big 45s. Okay. Mojo, which of the NFC playoff teams would be the best matchup? Philly. Beat them once. I don't know if I would say Dallas or not. San Francisco might make it. Seattle, I hate seeing them play Seattle in the playoffs. Hadn't gone well mostly. All right, Charles, Duran or John? Well, at the end of the day, John. RB, Glenn Brenner was fun to watch. Yeah, Glenn Brenner was hysterical. That dude was so funny. I mean, HR might have problems with him nowadays world. One time I'm covering a golf tournament, and I'm near all of a sudden, here comes this golf cart out of a sand pit, and in the air is, it comes down. I've never seen a golf cart do that, so who knows how fast he got it. And you're thinking, who is this lunatic? And there's Glenn laughing like crazy and speeding off to the next hole. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. He was really a funny guy, though. Glenn, that's all Glenn did, funny guy stuff, and knew what he's talking about. I miss him. He's buried at Oak Hill Cemetery in D.C. I stopped by and saw his grave a couple of years ago. Well, he's buried right next to one of Abraham Lincoln's top guys. Kind of weird. Minnesota would be a good matchup. Well, yeah, they should have won that game, David. They kind of blew it. Cam, random Redskin commander who you liked a lot, but maybe wasn't the best player here. Vernice Smith. Okay, Vernice Smith was a guard around 95. He was here for a hot minute. But one time we're at RFK, and they had practice there before the season. And they had the food and all this. Vernice Smith was a big dude. He took a plate of food into the shower to eat while he was getting a shower. And then he got in a fight with players because they were grabbing like sausages off his plate. And he comes out of the shower yelling at him and everything. And then later in the season, they gave him an award. It was called the Big Butt Award. And Vern was a big dude. And Vern got mad. He don't have a big butt. I mean, Vern was like 350 or something. He did have a big butt. Sorry, Vern. That was funny. You never know that guy. All right, let's see. Hopefully, Great White TV thought that was funny. I don't know. I thought it was funny. It's 8:42 already. Wow. Okay. So, favorite training camp? Asked us on Frostburg, Richmond, Carlisle, or Ashburn. Okay, if I had to rank them, my favorite place would be Ashburn because I could go home at night. But let's take that off the table. I liked Frostburg in some respects. The weather was much cooler, and there wasn't as much craziness around. I liked Richmond a lot because I could go home after practice, but of different air. But my problem with Frostburg is I would be there almost every day for 6 weeks. Man, there ain't nothing in Frostburg to do then. I don't know about now. So that was the hard part. But I enjoyed my time there. And Carlisle was a nice little place to visit. I have good memories of all the places. RB, I was able to visit Jack Kent Cook's grave thanks to my video. All right, you went. Okay. Yeah, he's in Upperville, Virginia, which is about 15 minutes maybe from Middleburg. Yes, only his ashes are buried there. So I'm glad you went and saw that. That's cool. It's a wonderful little church. The Mellon family paid for that. It looks like a French chateau from the 14th century or something. The Mellons, Mellon Bank, Mellon Oil, that kind of stuff. Wow, it's cool. Somebody went for that. Okay. How good could the Redskins have been if Marty was allowed to stay as coach? Mikasa asked. They were definitely heading in the right direction. They probably would have been like a 10-win team, but they would have lost early in the playoffs, as Marty tended to do. But it at least would have been decent. It would have been much better in the, the Spurrier era. Okay, so Scott said, I read Jay Schrader was very disliked. Yeah, he was not popular with teammates at all. He just was an intense dude. He wasn't particularly the nicest guy. Kind of, if you knew what Jeff George was about, kind of the same guy on there. And I don't like Jeff George either. But I didn't know Jay that well personally. I was a young reporter then. I really was a young reporter at one time, which is why that picture right there kind of shows you. I did have hair. I had hair down on my shoulders. It was great. I like being 20. So I hate being 60-something. But sucks getting old. I don't recommend it. Let's see. Steve says he knows it uncover him, but ever hear any crazy stories about George Allen? True, because I missed George by 6 years, but I saw him as a kid. The story I heard is George had his house painted burgundy and gold. And when it rained, all the colors ran down the side of the house. Big mess. So I've heard that one. I tried to get Bruce to tell me some stories about his dad from my last book, and he refused to do it. So being a jerk, because that's what Bruce is. But George interviewed Charlie Cashley when he came as a young intern. He was in the men's room. He would just keep talking, be in the stall, talking to Charlie. Charlie's thinking, it's kind of awkward. And George did that. They gave a driver to George because he was in so many accidents going back and forth to Redskin Park because he was always thinking about all our stuff. And they finally had to get a driver for him. There you go. 3 stories on George. How are they going to address center moving forward, asked Daniel? I think Martin's going to probably be it, but it could be Schweitzer. They've got a week to figure that out. But, Larson's out for the year now. And that's 2 straight years with a big injury for that guy. Feel bad for him. They're going to have to – I really think they might draft a center. They should draft a young center. They've just had too many injuries in recent years. Do I have a favorite Joe Gibbs story, RB? I'd have to think about that. But I will say one of my favorite memories of Joe was after Sean Taylor died, how he kept everybody together there, talking, for those 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and kept winning games. But, the post-game chats he would have were just inspiring. I thought he did a wonderful job those weeks. Why do I think Ricky Sanders isn't in the Ring of Fame? Asked Rebel with the cause. A good question, because Ricky was really good. I guess he just got overlooked by Monk and Clark. But there's a guy I would definitely say I'd have no problem with that. Mikasa, when I at RFK when Joe broke his leg? No, I was watching the game, but I was not there. I was 25 then, so I was covering horse racing more. I was in and out of in the 80s. I was in and out of Redskin Park a lot, just kind of helping out as a young reporter. I did the strike team in '87 because the main beat writer, the Hogs, threatened to never talk to him again if he covered the Scabs. So he pulled me out of the horse racing beat for a while, and I went and covered things because no one knew who I was. And that reporter was Marty Herney, who's now the team's ace scout. Why are tight ends so smart? David asked. Because I think they have to see the offense from more than just what's in front of them. They have to see both at the line, short passes and stuff. They see more of the field. Those in corners, I think, are the guys that see the field the best on all of this. They just have to learn not to have dumb penalties on there. All right, so we got about 10 minutes or so to go before I get tired. I'm finishing my 36 hours of Commanders from early Sunday to now. It's like that's all I do for this time. That and sleep. David, do I go to Laurel Park? I used to cover horse racing for 5 years long ago, but everybody's gone pretty much. They don't even have a press box there anymore. I used to have a table, and Shirley Povich used to come sit and eat lunch with his brother at my desk and watch the races on TV. And I'm like, Shirley, I'm trying to work here. I don't come to your office and eat a sandwich. And he was a really nice man. I didn't know him very well, but what a legend. He covered sports 75 years. Some of it part-time, but, let's see. Big guys for you. Am I allowed to sub-promote friends here or not? I have no idea. I have no idea. That's Mike. Michael, can you answer that? I don't know. I guess. What sports did I play as a kid? Love baseball. CM Martin. Baseball, if I could have played fall baseball, I'd have never seen any other sport. But I was involved a little bit in football and wrestling just to kind of pass the time. I like being part of a team, but I wasn't that good at either one. I was okay at baseball. If I could inflate my own mind, I was okay at baseball. Steve says, oh, you wrote a book? Oh, yeah, the 100 Things Commanders fans should know and do before they die, which is an update of my Redskins book of the same. You can get it at monumentalthoughts.com where I'll sign them. But nobody's buying them. I'll be honest with you. Nobody is buying that book. It is dead because you guys hate the Commander's name. I understand. It was found money. I made my money on the first book. You don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you do want to buy it, I'll sign it at monumentalthoughts.com. Or you can go give the money to Amazon for Jeff Bezos. Or, quite frankly, the Redskin version, which I wrote 2014, outsells the Commander's version on Amazon easily. So you want to buy the Redskins version, go ahead. I'll make $1 royalty, and Bezos will make more and buy the team with my money. Seems fair. Let's see. Augustine, who loves the bell. Hey, Augustine, here you go. This is for you because I know you love the bell so much. When's starting after the bye week? Nah. No, they're not doing that. At least not that. Now, if they lose this game, then we'll see. Kirstie Alley just passed away, Daniel says. Ooh, I hate hearing that. I loved her. Oh, that's sad. Let's see. What do we got? If you want to throw some money into the tip jar, thanks. I'll ring the bell for you. We've got a few minutes left of that. Let's see. Michael. Be nice, Michael. I always say grudges ended the grave. Whoever I've not gotten along with over the years, they bury him, I let go. There's a few people I'd like to throw in one, but and there's probably a few people I'd like to throw me in one, so whatever. Cam, would you like to see Gibbs more involved with the franchise? Nah, I think Gibbs' time is done. He's a good man, and unfortunately, he lost his son. He's lost both his sons, and his second son died recently. So Joe has things to deal with, and I wish him all the best. And I'm sure he's always there for Snider as a consultant because he cares about the team. Tonight, Augustine, Bucks or the Saints? What's the score? Anybody have that? I'm not watching the game right now. I thought New Orleans would win, so that means the Bucks are probably up 20-0. But we'll see. Didn't have a very good week picking games again, so probably not going to have my shirt on again for next week's game. But you can only see my shoulders. I feel very confident. Listen, you see from back here up. I don't show you anything else. That's going to cost you more. I wanted to start an OnlyFans site and then found out why they really wanted me to take my shirt off. That was different. So, whatever. And plus, I have a big open heart scar right here. So I had that 20 years ago. So if you want to see what open heart surgery looks like, that's where they take a saw and cut you in half, pull you open, fix your heart, put you back. Oh, I don't recommend that. Let's see, David, I'm going to figure out how to give you 10% of my money I make off your picks. All right, so hit the thanks button, throw the $5 in. I'm all for it. Only Daniel says, OnlyFans. Oh, you know what it is? I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a sports site when I started going, hey, I wonder if I should have something on this. I thought it was about sports, and then kind of found out it's a different game they're playing. Hey, if they're making a lot of money, good for them. What's my favorite hard rock band from the 70s? Rebel with Cause. Aerosmith. Is there another one? Yeah. I do like Guns N' Roses, but they're not the 70s. Let's see. Do I think the Commies will make the playoffs? Jordan says. Yes, I think they will. Last wild card, but I think they'll get there. And then we'll see. They'll be a tough out. I don't know how far they'll go in the playoffs, but they'll be a tough out. They just won't go there and stink. Kind of like a couple of years ago when they lost to Tampa. So, we'll see. The NFL, I think, hates this team. I was amazed that they made it to Sunday night game. But the NFL does whatever they can to, I think, screw Washington at times. That's another long discussion on things. But they do, under Dan Snider, I think Snyder ticked off enough of these people and made too many enemies. Does Heineke remind me of Theismann? Who has the better arm, RB asks. Oh, Theismann had a much better arm. And don't really remind me of each other. Heineke reminds me more of Billy Kilmer. So I was talking about Kilmer today online. Kilmer, I used to ghostwrite some for Billy back in the 80s when he had this business. And he came up and had dinner one night with me. We were at a restaurant. I get a wicked food poisoning driving home. I almost crashed the car. I was so sick all of a sudden. I tell Billy the next day, hey, man, anything happen? He goes, nah, I thought that didn't look good, so I didn't eat it. Well, thanks for the heads up, Billy. And Billy always drinks his beer over ice, which kind of weirds me out. But Billy's a great guy. Billy suffered a horrible car crash in 1965, missed a year. And then, he was like 11-30 or so with a couple of teams when George Allen traded for him, and then won 50-some games in Washington. So you never know. But Heineke reminds me a lot of Billy, the wobbly passes. I think Taylor throws a little tighter spiral than Billy did. But Billy was a gamer, and so is Taylor. Jordan talks about terrible officials. Yeah. But, you're up 10 early. Washington had its chances to win the game, but it also had its chances to lose the game and managed to hold on. So give them that. A tie seemed like a fair outcome, really, between that. I don't know. It would have been interesting to see if Ron had gone for 2, but he said too much time left in the game. I don't quite understand that. Daniel. One reporter asked Taylor about this game being a loss, and Taylor had to correct her and say a tie. Yeah, well, I didn't see that one happen, so I don't know what happened there. David, Barrett's grandfather would I like Billy Penn. Wow, cool. All right. I guess. I don't know. It's funny. My father thought football was stupid. He was a minor league baseball player for a year in the Yankees, but he thought football was stupid. So he passed away many years ago. Let's see. Mikasa asked, thoughts on Chase? Is he a bust? No, I don't think so. But it's a little bit like RG3 in a way. RG3 had a great first year, and then he got hurt, and it was just never the same. And a lot went on from all that. But I hope Chase's career goes better than RG3's. Jordan, how long have you been a Washington fan? Well, it's weird. I'm been a media member for 44 years, and you have to put some of that fandom kind of stuff to the side, at least for newspaper guys. and all. So, but would I rather see them win than lose? Absolutely. Anybody I cover, I'd rather see them win than lose. You like the guys; they're working hard. You like to see them rewarded. And growing up in Washington, of course, I was a Redskins fan. Who would I root for? Dallas, But it's not the same thing as a reporter. As they say, there's no cheering in the press box, so it's a little different than what you might think. We do what we got to do. Yeah, making a living. But I've enjoyed it. I never really thought I would cover this team. I was covering horse racing for a while too, and really liked doing that. And unfortunately, paper cut the coverage. Um, but what I learned in my 30s was you want to make some money in this business, you got to cover the biggest thing in town. And that means you got to compete against the best reporters in this town, and you got to raise your game. I could have covered horse racing my life. No one would have ever known who I was. Probably would have worked a third as hard. But I said, I got a family to raise. I need the money. You want to make a decent living, which is all we make. We're not rich people. You see the guys on TV making money, but the average newspaper guy, we make enough to get by. But and it's a great job. It's a great job. You get to tell anybody you want to blank off. I mean, how often can you do that? I got to travel the world on the company dime. I can't complain at all. And I got to see a lot of cool stuff. Can't complain. So girls want to find your love in the city. I guess we're in. So Michael will go find them soon. Steve wants to know, is it easier to be a reporter for a losing team or a winning team, or no difference? Much easier being a winning team, man. I covered the Super Bowl teams. So it was a lot of fun back then. A lot of fun. Losing teams suck. You try to detach from it, but it just gets old. C.M. Martin, who's the best reporter I competed against? I can say this very simply. Richard Justice of the Washington Post was the best reporter I ever competed against. And maybe I kind of got even with him, stayed even with him kind of thing. He was good. He was really good. I was happy to, trade blows and not get beat up on there. Well, thanks, Daniel, for your comment. And have I ever met any NFL players, Jordan? Well, Jordan, I'm in the locker room all the time. I guess you're new to this, but been doing this 44 years. So, yeah, know quite a few of them. Let's see, Michael. Oh, he found love in the city, but she got a restraining order. Okay, that's actually funny. All right, well, maybe you should be paying you for the jokes. All right, well, wow, the hour is up. How do you like that? So, anybody has some last minute money they want to send in, or last questions? I'll go a couple minutes late here. So I usually football from when I wake up Sunday morning till I go to bed Monday night. Is football. After that, I take a breath. And I am in my 60s now, so I don't have to work all the time anymore. It's kind of nice. Thanks, Scott, for coming. I appreciate all that. And Big Eyes 45, thanks. And big name football player I've met, all of them, Jordan, all of them. I've been doing this forever, and I know them all. Cash App, I have no idea. I don't know anything that's about. But since I can't take your money, throw it in the plate for me this week. And Daniel, thanks for everything. Let's see, do I think FedEx will be rocking for the Giants game? I think it'll be full. I just think it'll be a 50-50 kind of bowl atmosphere. Steve, thanks for everything. Let's see. Was the cup half full or half empty? I'd say half full overall. Should Ernest Snider be in the Hall of Fame? Frank asked. No. I covered the game where he fumbled for Cleveland. I covered the drive, and then the next year Ernest fumbled, and they lost the game at the goal. I covered both those games. So, sorry, Ernest. What can I tell you? I wasn't there for your better days on all that. All right, we're shedding people quickly. I don't blame you. Finishing up. So, anything, Augustine, thank you so much for kicking in. I appreciate it. I got to go buy Christmas presents eventually. I moved last month, and I'm still in mid boxes. So, between that and football, I don't have time for anything else. But we'll see. All right, we're about done on everything. All right, any last questions? Last call for alcohol. You want to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what I hear. John, thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. Was Clark cool to cover, SRB. No, I thought he was a great player, but he's kind of a hot-blooded guy back then. I haven't seen him in about good 5 years, and even then he was criticizing the media for something we were doing. So he was not a lot of fun to cover. The Super Bowl teams, gotta tell you, a lot of them were not easy people to cover. But it's changed. It's changed a lot in life, just like it's everywhere. It's changed a lot in the last 20 years, 30 years. Yeah. Give all your grandchildren a bell. There you go. Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? I got them all one of them popper things that you push along and they would go ba 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 ba. And when they were all young, and my daughters hated that. Is Heineke the guy for the future? Asked who drew? No, not as a franchise one, but I think he could be with this team for a long time. And he does what he does this year. Does best. He steps in, he plays well right away. Gives you his best effort. I have nothing bad to say about Taylor. It's just we all know that he's not the great one. But you can't measure people like him. He's not an analytics example. He is a guy who can win it on his guts and glory. Good for you, man. I mean, I like Taylor for that reason. I wish him all the best. And if you criticize him, doesn't mean you hate him or he's not a good person. You're just being honest. That's what we're paid to do as analysts, covering these things. So, good night, David. Appreciate you coming by. And Mikasa, thanks for coming by. And Bellsy, there you go. My kids love when you ring it. There you go. Make them smile. Can't help them at Christmas, so. Heineke should start next year. I doubt he does, but there's still another month of season to play. So we'll see on everything. And maybe it's Houdreau. That's how I say it. I'm doing this quickly and reading. My brain doesn't always match up with my mouth doing this, as you could probably tell. All right, if you guys are watching on replay, you can go back to the beginning now if you want. It'll be archived in the system in just a minute. Seasons of Discontent, the 15-minute podcast I do with Matt every twice a week is probably up about now. We do it Monday and Thursdays. I have the daily shows. They're just 2 minutes because that's all you guys can do. And most of you quit before then, but they're up morning and evening. I'm going to have some interesting ones tomorrow. It's bye weeks. We'll do some different stuff on everything. Not a lot of news this week, I hope. Every time I think that, something happens. So we'll see what happens there. And I think we're about done. So I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thank you all for coming. And I'll see you next Monday for that show. All right. Bye, guys.